Hello, and welcome to Soothing Pod Sleep Stories. My name is Arif, and today I would like to help you relax and fall asleep, guided by my voice and the story you are about to hear. Tonight, I'm going to tell you the ancient Lenape tale of a girl who traveled to a beautiful underwater kingdom. Before we begin, let's take a moment to relax and find comfort in the space we are in. First, try to let go of the tension in your body. Allow your shoulders to drop and relax. Unclench your hands and let your fingers naturally curl into one another. Your body is all that matters in this moment. Every part of your body is connected. Every part of your body relies on another. Imagine a warm yellow light moving through your body. It starts at the tip of your nose and winds its way down your neck. Let the light relieve the tension in your neck. Feel your neck and shoulders relax as the light buzzes around them. Feel the light as it travels down your shoulders, all the way down, down to the tips of your fingers. Feel the tension melt from your fingertips as that warm light comforts them. Follow the light as it travels down to your hips and down your back. It's unwinding every muscle, unloading any pressure or strain you have taken on during the day. As the light moves all the way down to your feet, imagine every part of your body being connected by that thread of glowing light. Now that we've taken a moment to relax, let us begin. Long ago, in the Lenape nation, a young woman named Prettyface lived by a river with her tribe. She was a stunning girl, beloved by all the men in her community. Over the years, several men had proposed to her, but Prettyface wasn't interested in any of them. She longed for someone different, for someone who would take her to a new land with new experiences. She loved her land in the river valley. She loved the way the earth came alive with flowers in the spring, the way the land sang with the harmony of cicadas, crickets, and birds in the summer, the way the changing leaves seemed to make the air sweeter during autumn, the way the snow turned her community into a sparkling wonderland during winter. Yes, she loved so much about her tribe, but there had to be more out there. She wanted a man who was going to take her someplace beautiful, someplace she couldn't even dream of herself. One day, she wandered through the forest in the rain. She watched the flowers curl in for protection as the heavy, sleepy raindrops fell from the dark sky. Prettyface loved rainy days in her village. While some might think the rain was a burden, Prettyface saw it for what it was, a way for their crops and the earth to get the nutrients they needed, a chance for everyone to slow down, relax, and embrace the beauty of the world around them. Prettyface sat under a tree, far away from her village, just listening to the rainfall around her. The maple leaves above her head caught any falling drops keeping her warm. She loved the hollow sound of the rain dancing on the leaves over her head. She found her eyes closing ever so slowly as she pulled her warm clothing closer against her body. In that moment, she felt perfectly at peace. The rain seemed to turn the entire forest into a tranquil oasis, and she couldn't imagine a better place to be. Underneath the pitter-patter of rain, she was beginning to pick up another sound, dull, heavy footsteps that seemed to radiate from the path by the forest. Pretty Face opened her eyes and was surprised to come face to face with the most handsome man she had ever seen in her life. "Are you lost, miss?" the man asked in a deep, calming voice. Pretty Face explained that she was close to her village and asked the man, "What are you doing here?" The man responded with a kind, radiant smile and told the woman he was in the village looking for a wife. Pretty Face rose to her feet. It hadn't been long, but she knew this could be her chance to explore, to leave her town and be with the man she belonged with. She invited the man to sit down with her. Over the next several hours, the two spoke in hushed whispers in the forest, exchanging their hopes for the future and their thoughts on the world around them. Soon, Pretty Face knew she wanted to be the man's wife. Around him, she felt the sweet warmth, the alluring buzz of love blossoming. The two had made up their minds. Soon, they would be husband and wife, and there was nothing that was going to change their minds. Both of them went to the village to tell Pretty Face's family. Her mother wasn't sure about her daughter's decision. They knew the families in their own village, but they knew nothing of the stranger's family. Despite her parents' concern, Pretty Face was still overjoyed. She followed her fiancé out of the village, looking forward to seeing what his beautiful town had to offer. The two walked through the forest they had met in only hours before. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, and the air was full of a freshness that only a storm can bring. The man led Pretty Face to the edge of the river. Confused, she asked him where he was taking her. But her fiancé simply smiled and took her by the hand. With a gentle step, the man began to sink into the water. Pretty Face followed after him. The cool river wrapped around her body as she began to sink deeper and deeper into the waves. But once her full body was submerged, Pretty Face realized she could breathe. She opened her eyes to marvel at the beautiful world around her. A tiny underwater village rested at the bottom of the riverbank. Pretty Face couldn't keep her eyes off this stunning, magical world. Schools of trout swam by her in the crystal clear water, unbothered as they floated with the soft current. The sunlight seemed to sparkle and dance in beautiful rays of light underneath the surface. Its beauty was truly beyond comparison. Every breath she took underwater felt like the first breath of her life. There was a type of freedom and grace that she felt underneath the waves, a feeling like she had always belonged here, like she was finally home. Her husband led her to the river bottom where a small village of thatched huts rested in the soft clay. He led her to the last hut in the village, a simple, cozy place that would be her new home. "I'm going off to hunt," her husband said. With that, he swam into the distance, leaving her alone in her new, strange home. Pretty Face tried to relax in her hut, but she didn't feel quite right. She gazed out the window, hoping to see another member of the village, but there was no one to be seen. She lay down on the mat and closed her eyes. It had been a long day, after all. Perhaps she just needed a moment to relax, a moment to let go. She lay back and tried to imagine herself back on the surface. She tried to imagine the warmth of the sun on her face. She tried to imagine the sweet aroma of the spring breeze. With thoughts of home, a warmth began to travel through her body, a comfort she never knew she longed for so deeply. Perhaps she could visit home, if only for a moment. The man was hunting, after all. Pretty Face rose from the comfortable mat, but as she looked outside the hut, she found herself looking at something she never imagined. The man had become a large snake. It dawned on her for the first time. The man wasn't a man at all. He was the great serpent of the river. She had been tricked. Pretty Face realized she had to make her way out of the hut. She had to find her way back to the surface. But who could help her? It dawned on her that she needed help, and she could only get it from the snake's enemy, Thunder. "Grandfather Thunder," Pretty Face whispered, gazing up at the surface of the water. "Please, help guide me. Please, help me return to my peaceful life where there is sun and trees and family." Even though she was afraid, an overwhelming feeling of peace filled her body at once. She heard the deep, comforting rumble of Grandfather Thunder's voice, saying, "Granddaughter, follow the path beneath your feet. Trust in yourself and in me, and we will help each other greatly." Pretty Face did as Grandfather said. She stepped out of the hut and began to walk down the river. Rays of light from the sun seemed to guide her. Suspended in the river before her, a sparkling patch of water led her further and further down the riverbanks. Before long, the hut was fading into the distance. Perhaps she had escaped that life. Perhaps she was nearly home. "Granddaughter, do not be afraid. Remember, trust in yourself and in me," Grandfather Thunder said in a calming voice. Pretty Face took a long breath. She felt as though a warm light was entering her body with every breath she took, as she prepared herself for whatever would come next. She felt her muscles relax as she began trusting in herself. The great serpent of the river glided across the river bottom. For a moment, everything was entirely still. The plants on the clay bottom seemed to stop swaying in the current. All the fish seemed to disappear. But Pretty Face did not fear. She knew she had her ancestors and the gods on her side. "Now, granddaughter, swim to the surface. When you breathe clean air for the first time, I will do as I must," Grandfather Thunder whispered in her ears. Pretty Face took a leap of faith off the riverbed. Before she knew it, she was floating up, up, up. She felt completely weightless and free. She knew the great serpent of the river was behind her, but she felt Grandfather Thunder's calmness reflected inside her. She was only inches away. She could see the rain dancing across the surface of the river and the dark clouds swirling high in the sky. As she surfaced above water, she took her first breath of the fresh air. A crack of thunder rumbled through the air as lightning struck right behind her. She knew in that instant that she was safe. The rain began to fall even harder, but Pretty Face loved the feeling of the warm raindrops on her skin. Behind her, the great serpent was no longer. Grandfather Thunder had taken care of him. "You've done well, granddaughter," Grandfather Thunder chimed. "Spend a moment with your family, and then you will come to your rightful home." Pretty Face walked back home through the forest. She soaked in the brilliant smell of the falling rain one last time. She ran her fingers across the damp leaves and grass, savoring the incredible feeling of nature on her skin. She returned to her village, completely enamored with the smell of her mother's warm cooking, completely captivated with the colors and sounds of the home she felt she had been gone from for so long. In her mother's embrace, Pretty Face told her tale. There was no place she felt safer than her mother's arms. She told her village that Grandfather Thunder was calling her, and she had to return to her new home. With Grandfather Thunder's power, Pretty Face was brought up to live with the Thunder people. In her new home, in a beautiful land in the sky, she was welcomed with open arms and open hearts. To this day, when the thunder rumbles, some people say it is Pretty Face, reminding young people to be cautious of who they give their hearts to. I hope you enjoyed this sleep story and that it has guided you to a night of restful, restorative sleep. Please, feel free to join me again tomorrow for another story. Until then, sweet dreams.